We live in a world where we have created machines that within 5 years will be smarter than anyone in this room. It shows us that the technologies we use are not just tools for us, but that we, on a biological level, get changed by the technologies around us. My big passion is to bring together neuroscientific insights and tech entrepreneurship to think about how we as a society can develop in the next 10 and 20 years. We just talked about the 70,000 thoughts a day. So what happens now if we enter a world where there are entities that don't have 70,000 thoughts a day, but 70,000 in a second or millisecond? And thus I welcome you to the age of AI. What we're seeing here is an evidence that technologies are biologically changing our brains. And suddenly this becomes very serious. What this means is that the clients of tomorrow will think differently on a biological level to what the clients of today think like. If now we have 3 to 4, 5 more years before these machines really take over every industry, we better prepare. Our brains are made by nature to dislike change, risk, and uncertainty. I'm here today to tell you that being concerned and unsure about change is extremely normal because it's biological. What happens when we are faced with situations that we don't know about, with change? You see the brain regions that are lighting up, something like the insula, the risk center of the brain. The amygdala is about fear. So the first reaction is a skeptical reaction. You find this in almost every human you put in a brain scanner and face them with stuff they haven't seen before. And so we humans, guided by our fear of change, actually created a world that is the opposite and benefits and rewards those that dare to think big. And this paradox is what we can really feel now in the companies. This paradox between people that naturally are scared of changing too quickly, but a market, mostly driven by the US, also China, that is changing so quickly that we all are forced to adapt very fast to it. And this is key. Innovation, biologically speaking, is a completely different brain pattern from being analytical and in your daily business. And now imagine the power of a team that thoroughly, deeply believes that change is possible. And it is possible. That's what I see in the startups I invest in. That's what we had at Google. It's possible for your company too. Even if those tech companies function differently from a business model perspective, the people are the same, they're humans, and you can motivate them. Leadership becomes taking care of people's fears, but leadership also becomes giving them an optimistic outlook for the future and an action-focused strategy. Because if you go into action, your brain is biologically unable to feel fear. And then it happens. Projects fail. People leave the company. And this is the moment of truth. This is where digital transformation actually happens. So digital transformation has never happened in your company if you stop it after your first failure. If you believe in the people in your company, then stop treating them like an algorithm. I still haven't found an algorithm that can surpass the potential of a human who really desires to go above themselves. We're currently trying to cope with the genius of children in AI. If we look at their brains in the metaphor of a data center or computer, there's not that much data or knowledge in there already. Children teach us that it can't be just accumulating more and more data, which makes intelligence true, but it must be the way in which intelligence is selectively used and the data is being applied. Fundamentally, the big next holy grail to crack is to create smaller and smaller models that perform at the same levels like the big models, but requiring much less data. We live in a world where a lot of geopolitical things are getting out of control.
Mental health is the #1 post-war risk for Ukraine.
And these days we have founded a new company, it's called MindGuard, and it's helping veterans in Ukraine with PTSD in hospitals to slowly get back into normal civil society based on neuroscience methods and a very regulated and crystal clear process. What I would like to offer is neuroscience-based exercises that are fun, that are engaging, and that keep your resilience at the top level. But obviously, if it works for soldiers under very severe pressure, it should afterwards also help leaders as well, avoiding burnout.
The future has already begun, and it will be an exciting one. Stay excited, both as a company and as a human being. Thank you.